It is June 2021. New COVID cases are going down. But many small business owners are now complaining that with these stimulus checks and extended unemployment, people don't want to work. Yeah. People don't want to return to work. I think that this is both very true and, well, not really. I spent most of my 20s unemployed because I live in a rural area and I struggled to get my driver's license. There were extending circumstances that I will not get into because some of this stuff is just unique to me. But I finally did get my driver's license in summer of 2020. And I went to work. I signed up with a temp agency, and one of the jobs that they sent me to was to restock shelves with a small business, a couple. A white man and a black woman, married. That guy was so fucking racist. Over here, this is blue spruce. When it's just sprouting, I think maybe in this state, but I'm not sure, but you can make vitamin C rich drinks with this. Over there is white pine. Let's go check that out. But yeah, this guy, he claimed to not be political because he doesn't vote, his religion or something. But the things that, I mean, he said things at work that I restrained myself from reacting to them. Work is emotional labor. I'm just paid like just above minimum wage, but here, white pine. This is going past edible right now, these tips, but they taste very citrusy, very rich in vitamin C. I don't have to buy vitamin C. On the ground here, let's see if I can find some. Yes. This is Dewberry. In a couple of weeks, in a month or two, it'll start producing blackberries that resemble blackberries or raspberries. And dewberries can cross with blackberries or raspberries. What makes them different is that they crawl along the ground rather than form bushes. So he said things like slavery wasn't bad because it increased the population of black people. And it was normal at the time. He started like justifying slavery on grounds like it gave people something to do. Like, what kind of person does that? What kind of person thinks like that? He's just He was just downright racist. And oh, I'm sure if I ever brought it up with him, he would say, "Oh, I'm not racist because I have a black wife." How can I say that she's not racist too? I mean, I've watched the Boondocks. One of the main characters of that show, or side characters, is Uncle Ruckus. I mean, forget about like Uncle Tom. Like Uncle Tom is on the show too, but Uncle Ruckus, that's just downright worship white man rather than turn a blind eye to racism. These yellow flowers are called cinfoil. Cinfoil is a relative of strawberry, and it does produce an edible berry, but you can barely even see it. But it's there. It's I wonder what would happen. What if we selectively bred cinfoil to produce larger berries? And here's some wild strawberry. Wild strawberry produces in June, and I am finding a few ripe strawberries around. This one's almost ripe. It's the beginning of June, so ooh. Yes. Not quite ready yet. Ah, here's a good one. Yeah. Wild strawberries are not very big, but they are good. They are tasty. I've noticed. Okay, so you notice this spot is a bit cleared out. I grew corn there last year. I grew tomatoes and hot peppers over there, and cabbage right here. I did like slash and burn over here, but this grass is a weed. I don't even think it's indigenous to the continent. I think it's crabgrass, or actually crabgrass it lays down. But this grass is a nasty weed, and I'm trying to get rid of it. And yeah, I got to do that. I haven't planted anything over here, but what I'm finding is that how I prepped this place. Wild strawberries are moving in. This was just from last year, and the wild strawberries are already moving in. I let dandelion grow. Dandelion is a vitamin-rich food. This is radish, self-seeded from what I planted last year. I just let radishes go to seed often. There's common plantain and English plantain. I find English plantain is good sauteed or cooked. It's a vegetable. Common plantain, dandelion, and English plantain. All good things. Let them grow in your garden. Over here, Dame's rocket. It's not growing anywhere nearby, so I must have tracked it on my shoe after working for someone else last year. Dame's rocket, or what's the Greek name? I forgot. But the flowers are edible. It's got a lot of flavor to it. Rather perfumey. It's a distant relative of cabbage. And I have a whole lot of lamb's quarter. It's growing all over the place. A relative of spinach, rich in iron, rich in vitamins. Just let it grow in your garden. I don't buy, I I don't buy fresh vegetables in the summer. I have the weeds. Sowgrass. This is not clover. Shamrock. Has the heart-shaped leaves. It's not a legume like clover. And clover tastes like peas. This has a lemony, tangy flavor. It is high in oxalic acid, so yeah, don't eat a whole lot of it. Hemp nettle. Shouldn't touch that, it's kind of itchy. But yeah, I don't know what to do with hemp nettle, but it's growing here. And this is jewelweed, or touch-me-not. It's not that you can't touch it, it's like poison ivy. It's that if you touch it, the seeds will pop out of the pods. But yeah, this guy, he was just saying the racist things, and I think he was like trying to test me. And he also said something like about Doctor Who. You know, I used to like it until they started going with the social justice warrior agenda, and oh God, what is he saying now? Going with the, like, he's saying things like just make me think violent thoughts, you know. It's like, oh, I'm just trying to work, man. And you can't, like in a college course, you can have discussions, you know. But yeah, he said something like, you know, these shows would make more money if they weren't abandoning their fan base and pandering to the social justice warriors. They are making more money. Come on, man. They're pandering. They're not pandering. They're appealing to a diverse audience. That's sage I planted last year. But yeah, like, but I'm not here to like argue with him in particular. I told the temp agency I didn't want to work with him anymore. And another job, well, it was pretty good. I worked with a deaf guy. I got to learn a little sign language. I already was learning sign language. I'm not sure what this is. My mom planted it. I got the little milkweed patch over there. I went on to another job. I do the NoTill method. I bury logs in the ground and they help the mycelium grow. They retain moisture. Sunflower. If I took care of that sunflower, it'd grow much better, of course. I have the mint. Rhubarb. Blueberry. I'm thinking about either planting trees over the grapes or building some sort of arbor. And you can eat grape leaves too. They can be a vegetable and a fruit. Yeah, I do no-till. I layer cardboard down. And let's see this has been here for a few weeks. It's probably time to just move it on to a new spot. Make more garden. But let's see what's under here. Yeah, no grass. So I can just dig into that and start planting. I got frustrated at the next job. You know, some of my coworkers that I was put in charge of, I wonder why they didn't, when they went home, why weren't they studying sign language? But yeah, a number of things were getting to me. I was trying to negotiate for fewer hours. Probably a bad idea, but I don't want to work 8 hours a day. I have this here. I have this to work on. And yeah, it does take money to work on something like this, but I'm figuring out how to do this without money. And I haven't been like punctually on top of things. I mean, as you can see, there's a whole lot of work to do here. But this is garlic. I've been replanting it every year, getting a larger and larger population. It looks like it's time to do some snipping. With garlic, you'll want to snip the flower heads off. They won't produce anything anyway. Garlic doesn't reproduce by seed. It doesn't pollinate or anything like that. You propagate it. It's a really good looking English plantain here. Noticing some kind of mushroom growing in here. And I'm getting this idea. I'm gonna plant edible mushrooms here. Like maybe oyster mushrooms or wine caps. Puffballs do grow here, and puffballs are edible too. But yeah, I was being put in charge at this other place, and I didn't even really want to be in charge. And I was expected to like show up. I want to take, was it Indigenous Peoples Day off? Join in solidarity. After all, this is stolen Abenaki land. And we do need to work towards returning it. But my employer expected me to show up that day and made it clear that that's what they want. And I wasn't really ready to argue, but just smile and take it, you know. It's like my employer intends to use the land that our ancestors stole to continue to get richer off of my work. I don't want to do that. I want to be free to do the right thing. My mom planted this fruit tree. I should prune it, but I forgot that you have to do it in spring. Yeah, I'm not mowing the lawn, so I'm just finding so much valuable stuff in the lawn. Over here, more wild strawberry. Wild blueberry. Now this is clover, and I let clover grow because clover is a nitrogen fixer. This is sweet pea. Sweet pea is not edible, but sweet pea is a nitrogen fixer. More layered cardboard, so it kills off the grass. There's a few little lumps of grass left, but I could probably take care of that with vinegar and salt. I had an empty patch here for gardening last year, and the lamb's quarter is growing well. There's also this ragweed. Is there any use for ragweed? It makes a good mulch. I'm not sure what this is. Another radish. Gonna go to seed, which is great. I'll show you something that I did plant this year. About a week ago, planted potatoes. About 120 potatoes from over there in rows all the way to about here. Nothing's come up yet. It's only been about a week. But yeah, this is me being lazy so far. But you know, when it comes to gardening, do a little bit every day. I tell you, I don't want to work 8 hours, but 4 hours a day, as much as people in non-industrial societies work, tribal societies, you can get a lot done and you can do what's really important. I really see what I was saying earlier about how it's both true and false that people don't want to work. With me, speaking for myself, it's more selective. I do want to work. I am a bit lonely, which partly explains why not a whole lot has been done. But I do want to work, and I do want a social life. I just don't want to work for someone who's trying to get rich. I want to work for people who need the help. I myself, I do need the help. Working for someone who has stuff, who owns some of this stolen land, that they have the means to trap you into working. They have the means to up it from 4 hours a day to 6 hours a day to 8 hours a day and even 10 hours a day. And then you start getting anxiety about your work performance. And then if they say something racist and you say something back, you can get fired. Later on in 2020, I went to work on a dairy, and the guy there is a guy who lives there is saying racist stuff and explicitly using the N-word, and I noticed a racist symbol on his hat, and talking about a Nazi relative and from Germany. Well, that got me a little paranoid, considering that I'm bisexual. And I wasn't paid enough. I got myself some thornless blackberry. Maybe it'll cross with the raspberry and the dewberry and the other wild blackberries here. All the rubises can cross with each other, as far as I understand. I'll try to propagate that, see what happens. And daylily. Daylily has a starchy root, rich in vitamins. I'll try propagating this too. It's good to have if there's a famine, or if you're trying to avoid work. If I ever turn this into a business, it's going to be a worker-owned business. I'm not going to be the kind of guy who tries to get rich off of other people. Rather, I want everyone to be able to own it. And I want it to affirm Indigenous people, people of color, as well as LGBT. And I want it to be compatible with the environment. I don't want to damage the ecosystem, which is, it's why I'm not mowing or tilling. I want to replace all the grass with weeds, and I want it to sequester the carbon from the air into the soil. This is burdock. It's from Europe, but I think it doesn't really have much of a negative impact on the environment. The roots go very deep, so it brings nutrition from deep in the soil to the surface. It is an annoying plant because the seeds cling, but if I dig this up, get a nice long root, it can feed a couple of people for a day or two because of the long starchy root, similar to a potato. There's another type of cinfoil growing down there. These conditions that I worked in last year just really turned me off, and now, I mean, like, yeah, people don't want to work when their employers make them feel borderline suicidal. They're gonna take the opportunity not to work, and now you look at all these Republican governors and legislatures in other states cutting off unemployment for those reasons. How about you guys look into